What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You know who it is by now,
Jimothy.
Now I'm sure you've seen the replay and you already know what deck we are going to be profiling for today, and that is Tenyi. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into the profile. So starting us off, ladies and gents, we have triple Tenyi Spirit Adhara. Now if you didn't know, with the Tenyis, if you control no effect monsters, you can special summon each of the Tenyi monsters once per turn. So it's an easy free special summon. Also, they also have a secondary effect, whereas if you do control a non-effect monster, they have various effects. Now, Adhara basically allows you to recycle some of your banished Tenyi monsters, which is really powerful. Really do like this card, hence why I'm playing it at 3. It also is a tuner, which helps us to go into some of our synchros when we get to the extra deck. But in my opinion, definitely a 3 of. Next up, we have probably the most infamous Tenyi of them all, which is Tenyi Spirit Vishuddha. Again, nice, easy, free special summon, level 7 to add. And basically what this card does is if you control a non-effect monster, you can bounce one card your opponent controls. It's not a quick effect, by the way, so you do need to keep that in mind, but nevertheless, that targeting bounce non-destruction removal is really powerful, ladies and gents, hence why I'm playing it at 3. You've probably seen this in various other strategies like Orcus, for example. It's just a nice way of removal, basically, so definitely a 3 of. Next up, we are running triple Tenyi Spirit Ashuna. Now what Ashuna allows you to do is if you do control a non-effect monster, you can banish this card from the graveyard or the hand, by the way, and special summon one Tenyi monster from your deck. Now you are locked into worm monsters when you do this. However, being able to special summon from your deck is just absolutely powerful, ladies and gents, hence why I'm playing this one at 3 also. Probably one of the most powerful effects. You can go into synchro plays, you can go into link plays, definitely a 3 of in my opinion. Next up, for some more Tenyi monsters, we are running 2 Tenyi Spirit Mapura. Sorry. So basically what Mapura does is when a non-effect monster is targeted, you can banish this card from the graveyard, negate the target in effect, and basically destroy a monster your opponent controls. Really useful. I tend to run the littler Tenyis or the smaller Tenyis in less quantities because I don't think they're as impactful as some of the larger ones. Well, the ranks level 7 Tenyi monsters. However, they are useful in their own right, and because you can recycle them, I've dropped each of them down to 2. If you wanted to, you could bump them all up to 3 and then run Pot of Desires as a bit of a draw engine, but I'm just playing them at 2. Next up, we are running double Tenyi Spirit Shatana. Now what Shatana does is basically when one of your non-effect monsters is destroyed by battle, you can banish this card from your graveyard, resurrect the monster that was destroyed from battle, and blow up one of your opponent's monsters. Quite good removal. Again, it is targeting destruction, so you do need to bear that in mind, but just being able to bring back one of your non-effect monsters like your Berserker of the Tenyi, for example, or one of your monks to then further your plays is really useful, hence why I'm playing this at 2. Now the last one is probably the least useful, but I'm just running this basically more so because of its name. It's another Tenyi monster, Tenyi Spirit Nathana. Now what Nahata does, my apologies, what Nahata does is basically when your opponent's monster attacks into one of your non-effect monsters, you can reduce your opponent's attacking monster by attack points by 1500. So basically it allows you to beat over a majority of the monsters that you're going to come up against. Again, it's not as useful as some of the other ones, but we do need Tenyi names in our graveyard and to be able to basically link climb and be able to go through our plays. So definitely a 2 of. Next up, for some non-Tenyi support, we are running double Mystery Shell Dragon. Now this deck is really interesting, ladies and gents. Basically, you do not necessarily need your normal summon. So these spots that I've used up for my normal summons could be anything. Could be Doom Caliber Knight, could be Magister's Fiend, for example. A lot of people do tend to run that in Tenyis. I don't really like it because it kind of locks you out as well, and if there's any issues with the cards or there's any kind of negation on board, you're kind of stuck, hence why I don't run it. But you could put put this could be anything. Thunder King Ryo is another example, ladies and gents, not being allowing your opponent to draw through the deck, as well as being able to negate the summon of a card. So it could be anything. I've gone with 2 Mystery Shell Dragons, basically because of one of the cards that we're playing in our extra deck. It's also a worm, so I can also go into my Monk of the Tenyi as well. Next up, we are running 1 Meme. If you didn't know, Meme is probably the most broken tuner monster in the game, but it does lock you into worms, and you are locked into worms. Cannot be special summoned or set except by a card effect of a worm monster, so effectively it's only going to work in a worm deck. But what it does is when it's special summoned, you can up to thrice per turn special summon Meme tokens. It is also a tuner. Now this card could be a 1 card level 7 synchro. Easy as that, ladies and gents. It does reduce its level when it special summons a token, but you can have 3 tokens on board. You don't necessarily have to synchro with them. You could also link with those tokens as well. So really versatile. Some people play this at 2. I value it at 1. So yeah, 1 Meme. Next up, for some removal, we are playing double Lava Golem. Again, this removes your normal summon for the turn, but like I said, you don't necessarily need your normal summon to be able to pop off with your plays. You can quite easily play without it. So going second, it's really nice to see Lava Golem. I do have the 3rd one in the side, just to being able to see this a lot more frequently, but it is a nice bit of non-destruction removal, especially for some of your powerful boss monsters like Mech Knight Crusader, Abramax for example. So definitely Lava Golem in my opinion. And then just for our hand trap lineup, we are running triple Effect Veiler. This could be anything. It could be DD Crow, it could be Jordan Lockbird, it could be Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, whatever you want. I've kind of designed this to go second, however I haven't actually completed this deck for the main reason being that cards due to the coronavirus are taking a lot longer to arrive, ladies and gents, hence why I'm playing 3 Effect Veilers. Again, this could be anything, and obviously if you side correctly, this is an easy side out for some more powerful or more impactful hand traps. Next up for the spells, oh my goodness, we are running double Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi. This card is absolutely fantastic. Allows you to draw 2 cards when your opponent special summons a monster, and it allows you to protect your non-effect monsters effectively, not being able to be targeted, which is really powerful. This should actually be terraforming, but for some reason I cannot find where my terraforming is, so I've just literally thrown this in as a placeholder. It is actually quite useful because you can send your tokens, you can send your Mystery Shell Dragon to the graveyard to be able to draw 2 cards. However, it's not as impactful as having a terraforming. Now, the reason I'm not playing this card at 3 is mainly because it was a little bit claggy. I was seeing like 3 in my hand, which was kind of hampering my plays. So I didn't want to draw into it as much. Basically, I just wanted to search it, hence what the terraforming was for. So yes, ladies and gents, double Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi. Next up, we are running triple Vessel of the Dragon Cycle. This card is just, it's crazy actually. So it allows you to Foolish Burial any worm type monster, on top of being able to add a Tenyi monster from your deck to your hand if you control a non-effect monster, which is really powerful. Again, if you've got this and you've got a Monk on board, Monk of the Tenyi, basically you go +2 because a lot of your effects resolve in the graveyard. So you can send a Vishuda, you can send a Nashuna, Adhara, whatever you want depending on the situation, as well as adding a Tenyi monster to your hand. So really powerful card. You do want to see this alongside a couple of your Tenyi monsters. Next up, this is up to personal preference, ladies and gents, but I'm actually playing triple Pot of Avarice. Now the reason I put this in is because initially when I was playing this deck, I was burning through my resources, and basically you need to kind of keep cycling your Monk of the Tenyis. Now if you can't access any of your Monk of the Tenyis, you are kind of stuck. So basically the Pot of Avarice allows you to kind of like mitigate all those issues. So being able to put 5 back into your deck, you can recycle all your monks, all of your combo pieces, for example. You can even put hand traps back if you want, and then draw 2 cards. Hence why I'm playing this at 3, ladies and gents. Again, you could bump this down to 2, but I like seeing this card because if you do see it and you just want to burn through all your resources, you definitely can, and then put all of them back at the end of your combo, for example, and just being able to just pop off from there. So yeah, definitely a 3 of in my opinion. Next up for some 1-ofs, we're running 1 Monster Reborn, 1 for 1. one Hollow Giant, which is absolutely fantastic. So what this card does is it negates the effects of monster special summon from the extra deck. So basically, you can only activate it if you and your opponent control a monster special summon from the extra deck, and both of those cards are negated. Now, when a monster from the extra deck dies, the person or the player whose monster died or goes to the graveyard takes 1000 damage, and this card is sent to the graveyard also. So for example, if you've got a opponent who's got a Mech Knight Crusader Avramax on board, you could link up into your Berserker of the Tenyi, which is a non-effect monster anyway, slap this card down. Mech Knight Crusader Avramax does not basically allow him to gain attack because it's a special summon monster, and you can either crash into it, you can beat over it, for example, which is really good. Nice form of removal, as well as doing a little bit of burn damage, which can come in useful at times. So yeah. And also we are playing Dragon's Mirror and a Foolish Burial. This is just fantastic. I will show you the card that I'm using because it is quite an old card, Dragon's Mirror, alongside the card that I'm basically bringing out, but definitely a nice little tech in here. You do not have to play this. This could be anything else, as well as the 2 mystery shell dragons, but I will show you exactly why I'm playing that when we get to the extra deck. Next up, we have got the traps, and we're only running 3 traps, ladies and gents. We have Fist of the Unrivaled Tenyi, as well as Waterfall of Dragon Souls, which is really powerful. So basically, this is just basically a rota. It's also a draw card, so you can send a worm monster from your field to your graveyard and draw cards +1. You can send any number of them basically. So if you have 2 on board, you can draw 3, etc, etc. I do play this at 1, mainly just to be able to add a worm monster from my deck to my hand. Fist of the Unrivaled Tenyi, ladies and gents, is basically a Waken the Dragon, as well as a Omni Negate, which is really powerful. You do need to control a non-effect monster to be able to resolve this card, but even if you don't have one, you can just set it. Obviously, it's a bit of a bluff for your opponent, and if it gets destroyed, sent to the graveyard, you can basically summon a non-effect monster from your extra deck, which is always going to be the most powerful non-effect monster in the game, which I will show you in a moment. So definitely a 2 of and a 1 of. Again, these are traps, they're quite slow, so hence why I've reduced my probability of drawing them just by playing 3. Next up, we are onto the extra deck, and we are running Triple Monk of the Tenyi. Now, ladies and gents, this card is essential. It's basically a play starter. It's where you go for all your plays. It only requires 1 non-link Tenyi monster, so any of your Tenyis can basically be summoned. You can summon this using any of your Tenyi monsters, and it just basically turns your graveyard on. So you do want to go into this first. Again, you can burn through quite a lot of these in a turn, sometimes 2 or even 3, hence why I'm playing the Pot of Avarice. So definitely a card you need to see and be able to go into, hence why we're playing it at 3. Next up, we are running 2 Shaman of the Tenyi. Oops, let me just fix that sleeve there. Typically, this is what you're going to use to bring your Mare back from the graveyard. Really powerful. So on Link Summon, you can basically discard 1 card, target 1 worm monster in your graveyard, and special summon it to your side of the field. Now if it's Mare, obviously you're going to get Mare's effect to bring loads of tokens back and just be able to pop off with your plays from there. Really powerful. Also has a secondary effect, which basically can pop a monster, but powerful card, hence why I'm only running it at 2. You do have Part of Average to put it back into your deck, but if this gets lost, banished for whatever reason, you can have the ability to go into another one, hence why I'm playing it at 2. Next up, we are running 1 Draco Masters of the Tenyi. Really powerful card, can't be destroyed by battle with an effect monster, and you can pop cards or pop monsters on the field equal to the number of non-effect monsters on the field or in your graveyard. So you can imagine if you've got Monk of the Tenyi in your graveyard or any of your just vanilla monsters, you can just blast your opponent's monsters off the field. Really powerful card. Again, only need him as a 1. Next up, we have 1 Berserker of the Tenyi and the new boss monster, Tenyi Spirit Sahasrara. I've said that correctly, yes. So basically, he's just a vanilla 3000 attack beat stick. With the field spell, he's very, very difficult to remove, can't be targeted. I don't like his link arrows, but he is a component. Tenyi Spirit Sahasrara is just absolutely crazy for a boss monster. So you can special summon, you can target one of your opponent's monsters, special summon a worm token to your side of the field equal to that monster's original attack, which is really, really powerful. And whilst there's a non-effect monster on the field, neither player can target effect monsters with card effects, which is really, really powerful. So no more infinite impermanence, none of that jargon. It's just crazy. And the token summoning is a quick effect, so you can do it on your turn, you can do it on your opponent's turn, which is really powerful. So really, really powerful boss monster. I wouldn't run it any more than one. There's loads of ways that we can revive this, get this back out the graveyard, for example. So yeah, hence why it's a one-off. Next up, for some more generic links, we've got one Land Fornicus, just in case I can't get access back to any of my monks of the Tenyi. We've also got one Link Spider, just in case I wanted to link up into anything else. I would actually, if I owned one, put Borosword in this deck list. However, I don't. But Link Spider nonetheless can be really useful, especially if you've got a token on board and you've got a Mystery Shell Dragon in hand. You can just easy special summon basically. Next up for the synchros, we're running one Berserker of the Tenyi, one Baxia, absolutely crazy, the Yang Zing, and one Cyframe Lord Omega. I'm sure you know what Omega does by now. Just basically recycles a lot of your banished resources. Baxia is non-destruction removal by shuffling away 2 threats or even 3 threats back into the deck, depending on what type of monsters you use. But basically, you can shuffle cards away equal to the different attributes of when monsters you use to synchro summon this card, which is just hella powerful. The amount of cards are just spun back into the deck and just attacked for game is crazy. And Draco Berserker of the Tenyi he's kind of like Bills, where if an opponent's monster activates an effect, you can banish that monster, and if it beats over a monster, it gains attack equal to the monster that it beats over, and it's able to attack again if that monster was destroyed and sent to the graveyard. So he just gets big for no reason. It's just absolutely crazy. So definitely a one-of in my opinion. And then last up, we are running one Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and one First of the Dragons. I know you have not seen this in a while. This is absolutely crazy. So it needs to be fusion summoned, cannot be special summoned by other ways, and it's unaffected by cards, well, monsters that are not normal monsters, can't be destroyed by battle with an effect monster. So you can literally put this on field, especially when you've got your Mystery Shell Dragons. It's quite easy to get both of them in the graveyard. So if you do for any reason see your Dragon's Mirror, it's quite easy to get a Mystery Shell Dragon into the graveyard, for example, with the loads of ways that we can Foolish Burial monsters. Get this on field and just start swinging at things. It's just absolutely crazy. And then this is your Fist of the Unrivaled Tenyi. So basically, 4500k beat stick. If you've got the field spell on field, this is really, really difficult to remove, and it just starts swinging. 2 turns and your opponent's dead, and that's just with this card alone. So yeah, very, very powerful. So ladies and gents, that's the end of the deck profile. Again, this is not the most competitive Tenyi list. It's probably something that could be improved. Again, like I said, the Crush Card virus has meant that cards are taking a lot longer to arrive. But I wanted to just take this time to actually say thank you for 100 subscribers. We have made it. I didn't actually realize that, or actually realize it had happened until probably about a couple of days ago. It's really nice to see. Thank you for all the subscribers. Thank you guys who comment on the videos and who've got positive things to say. I've always wanted to make this channel a bit of a community, an open discussion on deck theories, cards, text, all that kind of stuff. Hence why I do my videos the way that I do. So thank you for 100 subscribers, ladies and gents. And what I will say is, with the coronavirus kind of easing up, be expecting to see a lot more content on the channel in the way of live duels, locals reports, all that kind of stuff. So definitely stay tuned. And as always, if you do like this content, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I will definitely see you guys on the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.